What's up, guys? It is September 8th, 2016. It's a Thursday morning. Hope you're having a great day so far. Can't wait to get this video started. All right. First of all, what are you doing for today to benefit yourself for tomorrow? Always look for that vision, that dream, that goal you got for today. All right, to better tomorrow. Conquer your forever. We all have demons, wars going on in our heads, trials, tribulations, and challenges that we all are enduring right now that our best friend doesn't even know about. It could be something that's going on in your marriage, something that's happened to your child, and you find out they've had cancer, paying for a wedding, might be stress over having your first child. It might be finding a new job, something you haven't had a job in a few months and you're stressed about paying for finances, your mortgage, cars, the whole 9 yards. You could be stressed about coming up on moving day. Maybe it's a final in a class or a test or a class you're failing right now in school that you are depressed about or stressed out about. It could be a presentation that you got coming up at work that you're stressed out about. There are always things going on in our lives that are going to challenge us, that are not going to benefit what we are looking forward to in the future because we're worried and we're bringing ourselves down for that. All right, think about it. Everything in this world that you can do is going to be temporary. It could be the lowest of the lows. It can be the highest of the highs, but even if you're up there singing with the clouds, there's something that's going to bring you back down to reality. But I want you to understand something. Look at all these videos and educating myself about motivational speaking and talking to people and doing this illusionist work. More of the motivational speakers in the world out there have always been down at the very bottom. All at the very, very bottom. What they did was they picked themselves up. They looked forward, they set goals for themselves, they had a dream that they wanted to get to, and they educated themselves to get out of the position they were in. It seems like every motivational speaker in the world, it doesn't matter who it is. The only one I can think off the top of my head that was never poor or broken down was maybe Tony Robbins. That's the only person I can think of. Everybody else, it seems like, had a disability they got past. Maybe they lost an arm, a leg. There was always something that brought them down to where reality struck, and they never thought that they could get that low. Until all you're doing is laying on the ground and you're looking up. There's nowhere else to go, right? You can't get any farther. You're just bottom as low as you can get. But here's the thing, they didn't take for granted what they did have. They saw where things could go. They saw where the failure would hit, and they grew from that. And they said, look, I was here before, I'm gonna get back here again. Or maybe they were even average, and maybe they lost an arm or they lost a leg and things are a little bit harder now, but you know what? It's worth fighting for because they got to where they wanted to get to. Life isn't fair. I'll be the first one to tell you, I've been through those things. I've been through some of the things that these other motivational speakers have gone through, whether it was debt, whether it was losing a house, well, my story, 2002, 2 days before Christmas, found out my wife was doing some things extracurricular that I didn't know about. We discussed it, she was gonna move out, I was gonna keep the house, until I found 17 foreclosure letters 2 weeks later in my kitchen, or my bedroom drawer. 2 or 3 months out of that, they repossessed the car that she had. I lost my house, my car, the whole 9 yards, my kid half the time, my wife. I lost everything. I was on the bottom, looking up. I was laying flat on the floor, face down, until I rolled over. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me years to get back to where I wanted to be at. I'm not talking about 1 or 2. I let it consume me for 10 years. And I know if you're going through a breakup, I know if you're going through losing a home, or if you lost a loved one, if you lost your dad. I lost my dad in 1997, 2 or 3 years after I got out of high school. I miss my dad every day to this day. Time does help, but it doesn't conquer everything. It doesn't just take the pain away. You can't turn that light switch off. The best thing you can do to try to get through all this stuff is to think about things. Find a hobby, get something that keeps your mind off of that pain. I know it's hard for me to stand here and say that right now. I'm not in the pain that you're in. I don't have the stress that you have. But set for yourself some goals, some things that you can do. Hour by hour by hour, if it's playing with your daughter, playing with your son, playing with a loved one, keeping your mind off of the situation as much as humanly possible to take that fear, that stress, that anxiety out of your mind. You're gonna close your eyes, think about the best moment in time you ever had. Whether it was with a husband or a wife, whether it was your first kid being born, whether it was something where you graduated from the Marine Corps and your parents are sitting there watching you in tears. There's nothing life throws at you that you can't handle. We are all a lot more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. And there's nothing more that I would love than to keep you out of pain. I don't want to see anybody in pain. I know what that pain feels like. The loss of love, the loss of a loved one, the loss of my son himself. He has cerebral palsy. When he was born that day, he was supposed to be completely healthy, completely fine, and all hell broke loose. Things happened at the hospital. We went through lawsuits, the whole 9 yards, but somebody else created a situation for my son he'll never get out of. And it's hard to try to conquer that in your mind and say, look, I got to get past this, but you can make the best life for him you can. Nobody's holding you back. Nobody can take your happiness. Nobody can take your drive or anything else, like we said in the last video. You have to give that away. And once you give it away, it puts yourself in a situation that you don't want to have to fight out of. And again, I know it's hard to say for me to stand here and tell you guys, hey, just do this. I'll put your mindset in the clouds. Be on cloud nine already. Have a smile. Have a good... It doesn't work that way. There's so many things in this world that are going to put us down. Try to find something, a hobby. If you like to knit, if you like to play tennis, if you like to play racquetball, baseball, football, it doesn't have to be an athletic sport, but something that keeps you happy. Art, painting, anything to keep your mind off of the situation you're in. I'd much rather be thinking, hey, what color should I paint the nose on this clown? What position should I play in baseball? What position should I play in football? How can I get faster at tennis? What will make me a better runner? Once you find that purpose in life, like we talked about before, you will be so much better. Everything is temporary. Remember that. Nothing is going to be here forever. That means pain. In a year from right now, think about where you could be at. And for me, I had to sit back and think to myself, is the next person that I date or that I marry possibly, or am I going to go through the same things that I went through in my marriage? I couldn't put on the next person that I love, that I care about, what the person behind me did. Somebody in the past did that. They didn't do this. I have to separate those two. And it took me a long time to figure that out. Try to remember that. Don't blame the person that you love or that you're potentially going to love for something that somebody else that you loved in the past did to you. Close your eyes. Remember, everything's temporary. Bend your head down. And I want you to think about the best time in your life. I don't care if it was a vacation with your parents when you were a kid. Think about that happy time. And remember that you can always go back to that time. It's a memory that nobody can take away from you. You're in control of what happened that day, that time, that week, that 2 weeks. The best time in your life when you were fit. The best time in your life when you were happy, you were a family, even before the divorce hit. You still had happy times. Remember those times. Try not to think about the failure part of what happened in your relationships and think about you are growing from this. It's not a failure. It's a growing experience. And I would have never guessed that in a million years. I thought that there was no way in the world that my son could ever be happier than when me and my wife were together. But we argued. We fought a lot. And you know what? It was better. When we separated, we divorced, it was better for my son. She was happier. I was happier. He was happier. There are a lot of things in this world that go wrong, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's circumstances that we just can't control. It's how we live after what has happened that will control you. And for me, I'm not going to lie, I was depressed for 6 months, never went and did anything, nothing. Until my cousin called me and said, hey, let's go play cards tonight. And that changed my life. I'm doing this right now because of actually more is like 5 or 10 phone calls that he finally got me out of the house. And I'm standing here today because of those 4 or 5, 10 phone calls that he made that day to convince me to go out, to get my mind off of it, to give me something to think about my son and my marriage and what I did wrong. Why was I so bad that she had to do what she had to do? It wasn't me. These were her demons. And now that I know that, I can live a life where I'm not blaming something on somebody else that I care about now because of something that she did. Maybe I'm being a little bit too transparent. I'm not going to keep sharing my stories. I didn't mean to hold you guys up for so long. I appreciate you. I love you. You'll get through this. I promise you. It's only temporary. Only temporary. You'll get through it. Think about where you want your life to be in a year, even in a week, in a month, in a year. Conquer your forever, but make your forever a long time. Get on it. Educate yourself. Do what you got to do. I love you guys. Move forward. Don't stop living for tomorrow. It will be here no matter what happens. Conquer your forever.